In the news this week, experts and politicians debate over the new anti-terror laws.
FIFO workers face higher suicide rates as the mining boom ends.
And on Western Perspective, the involvement of young people in boosting WA's Innovation Dream Factory.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Ali Harper.
Good evening. There are debates of whether new penalties proposed on anti-terror laws can deter terrorism. The new law will include a life sentence for perpetrators, but experts said the policies might not be right for Australia.
A counter-terrorism expert felt Malcolm Turnbull's new counter-terrorism law may not be the right choice in preventing terrorism. With 3,294 terrorist reports last year and an increasing number of terrorist attacks this year, Australia is on red alert with Malcolm Turnbull announcing a counter-terrorism plan by potentially locking up jailed terrorists for life if they remain a danger to the community.
The reality is that this is another law. It's becoming it runs the risk of being a knee-jerk reaction. We have other laws now with preventive detention being applied. This is going to add up over time. My view is that there are other ways we can deal with these people.
Labour Shadow Minister for Trade and Asian Engagement also felt the plan was not on the right track and felt Australia was not doing enough to counter terrorism attacks.
What we need is a community-based de-radicalisation program to engender confidence amongst the community about our recent arrivals in Australia.
However, Federal Minister for Justice Michael Keenan said terrorism continues to be a big problem in Australia, and initiatives like these are needed to help fuel ongoing attention.
Mr. Crowley, though, said he felt Australia was doing enough to try to counter terrorism and was in line with the right path. The plan had been approved by the state and territory leaders during a Council of Australian Governments meeting last week and is looking to be implemented next month. Cecilia Faustina, WAMN News.
New research has found that FIFO workers are more vulnerable to mental illness and suicide due to the downfall of the mining industry. There are calls for the government to step up and address the issue as unemployment continues to rise.
Fly-in, fly-out mining jobs have been a popular way to earn a living in WA, but experts say working long hours in FIFO jobs could take a toll on your mental health. The Education and Health Standing Committee has revealed many FIFO workers suffered mental illness and were more likely to commit suicide.
One of the biggest issues that's come out of certainly our consultation and talking with a lot of FIFO workers and families, but also from some of the research, is that loneliness and separation from family.
Research has found it's affected 30% of FIFO workers, and experts say they aren't prepared for the isolated mining sites made difficult by the extended time away from home. They're also concerned too many sufferers are scared to ask for help.
Downturn in the resources industry, particularly with iron ore prices dropping, I think there's a deep insecurity for a lot of people.
And with BHP Billiton's Newman Camp's lease extended, mental illness education is a high priority. Researchers say mental health issues facing FIFO workers could be higher than the 20% average, but Mental Health Minister Helen Morton says a concerted effort is being made to address the issue and curb suicide rates. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The government is scrambling to defend the EPA's reputation after the Supreme Court's ruling against Row 8. The Environment Minister has called for a health check after the court found the EPA did not consider its published policies before recommending the project.
You have faith, as a Minister for Environment, that the Environmental Protection Authority is doing due diligence on their governance.
Andrew, I think it is, it's regrettable, it was an error, but keep it in perspective. Does that mean Row 8 doesn't go ahead? In my book, no, it doesn't.
Blake Danelczak hosted his final news radio show in Canberra this week after announcing his plans to commence new projects. Newsnight has been the leading weekly radio news talk program in Yass, featuring interviews with many prominent Australians, including entrepreneur Dick Smith and media personalities like Erin Molan. He's also our political correspondent in Canberra.
And if you missed the final episode of Newsnight, you can listen to it again online. We also wish Blake all the best. Perth has finally joined the exciting world of virtual reality after local startups teamed up and launched a branch association in WA. Ryan Beckerman and Adam Gagan are hoping to bring together virtual reality enthusiasts in the state as they see innovation as the next big thing in Australia.
What Ryan and I have been doing is uniting Perth with Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra and Adelaide to form a national association. So our key goal is to unite the development community with major industry, universities and academia, SMEs, major corporations that are looking into tech and innovation.
The United Nations Human Rights Council held a special meeting in Burundi after a request from the US. Patrick Lazars has a summary of this week's world news.
The United Nations has expressed deep concerns over escalating violence in Burundi. The Security Council has urged major stakeholders in East Africa to fully cooperate with the peacekeeping mission to reduce the bloodshed. The Spanish election is underway with 350 seats up for grabs in the national parliament. The pre-election poll predicts the incumbent governing party will retain most seats, but a coalition government needs to be formed if they want to remain in power. And former Hong Kong chief executive Donald Tsang is facing court over alleged corruption charges. Mr. Tsang stated that he has done nothing wrong during his time in office. He will face court again next month. Patrick Lazars, WAMN News.
And that's the final Sunday evening news for 2015. It's been a wild journey, isn't it, Ali?
Sure has, Ivan. But we want to wish you all and your families a very happy holiday season, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. We'll continue our news updates on our website and Facebook page.
Time for Western Perspective, but now from the both of us, good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Ivan and Ali. Hello, I'm Dylan Webstain, and welcome to Western Perspective. Tonight, the end of Western Australia's resources boom has led to a downturn in the state's prosperity that has thrived in the last 10 years.